Okay. God, Jesus Christ, Santa Claus, Wata the Watcher.
Uh, what are you doing?
Oh, me, I'm just making a list of perverts that watch me masturbate.
Well, I think you're definitely missing one there.
Oh.
657 Boulevard. Dude, have I got a story for you? No, today we have the mystery of the Watcher House at 657 Boulevard in Westfield, New Jersey.
Good old New Jersey, man. Not like they've
Well,
ever
this
had a mystery or anything like that.
well, this is the good part of New Jersey. Apparently, this is the affluent part of New Jersey.
That means rich.
Yes, yes, it does. No, this is a recent story, only dating back to June of 2014 as the start.
Yep. Which
Yep. And
which I absolutely love because like we have a lot of mysteries that are just like, well, way back in 1704, and just this is something
yeah.
that's like this is something that could happen today even.
Yes, yes, it could.
So
Yeah, no,
it's
back
relatable.
yes. Yeah, back in June of 2014, Derek and Maria um, Bradis,
I
although
was
it's
saying
spelled
Brodus.
Broadus. Yeah. But either way, they had just finished signing paperwork to purchase a $1.3 million house in
Yep.
Westford, New Jersey. Westfield. Beautiful antique house, dating back to 1905. And oh, it was gorgeous. 6 bedrooms, 2.5 bathrooms, right in a very rich part of the neighborhood, which is apparently Boulevard is the name of the street. It's just Boulevard. And it is the ritzy part of Westfield.
But yeah, apparently, this beautiful $1.3 million mansion. For $1.3 million, it should be a mansion. I'm just saying. Apparently, it wasn't good enough for them. They
Yeah,
started
they
doing
never
some
moved in, right?
renovations.
Yes. Oh
Yeah,
yeah.
before they were going to move in, they were going to do a bunch of renovations to the place. I just bit my tongue.
Yeah, no, they started putting work into it almost immediately. Within days, they'd already had contractors in and out of there. Contractors in before they even had finished the purchase of it, because contractors were involved in the selling process because the house had been part of a bidding war to see who would buy it. And so the Bradis family bought it for over market value.
Uh huh. But once the renovation started, what did the Brasses find in their mailbox?
3 days after signing the paperwork, a day before it went public knowledge, they found a
Mm-hmm.
letter, a handwritten letter. Well, okay, the address of white envelope, handwritten address, new residence is what it said. And inside, they had a lot of interesting content.
Yeah, this was not exactly a welcome to the. Well, it is kind of a welcome to the neighborhood letter.
Literally.
Dearest new neighbor at 657 Boulevard, allow me to welcome you to the neighborhood. That's pretty nice, isn't it?
Oh, so wonderful.
How did you end up here? Did 657 Boulevard call to you? Wish its force within? Call to you with its force within. 657 Boulevard has been the subject of my family for decades now, and it approaches its 110th birthday. I have been put in charge of watching and waiting for its second coming. My grandfather watched the house in the 1920s. My father watched the house in the 1960s. It is now my time. Do you know the history of the house? Do you know what lies within the walls of 657 Boulevard? Why are you here? Um, where am I at now? Why are you here? I will find out. Who am I? There are hundreds and hundreds of cars that drive by 657 Boulevard each day. Maybe I am in one. Look at all the windows you can see from 657 Boulevard. Maybe I am in one. Welcome, my friends. Welcome. Let the party begin. The Watcher. What the fuck?
Yeah. No,
Straight
I gotta
out.
say, yeah. At that point, you're like,
Hi, the boss.
you go back to the bank, say, is the ink still wet? Because I forgot something on it, and then just wipe your name off the papers.
Yeah. I'm sorry if I'm gonna if I'm getting a letter like that, I'm not freaking out just yet.
I am definitely asking a lot of questions, though.
Yeah, definitely, because they thought it was a prank.
Well,
But
they also called
regardless,
the cops They also called the cops. The cops thought it was less of a prank at first.
Mm-hmm. But the police investigation kind of started. They started with wow, I have a mess of notes here. They started with the previous owners, of course, the Woods family. Only find out that the Woods family received a letter like 3 days before they moved out.
Yeah. They received a letter like right before. However, they'd been there for 23 years and had received nothing up until then.
Yep, not a single solitary thing. There's no like copy of the letter or anything like that, but the Woods mentioned it as
That's because they threw it out. They thought it was a joke.
Yep. But they mentioned it's odd. They mentioned the generations of people watching Watcher House, and it went on to thank them for taking care of the house and everything. But yeah, they lived there for 23 years. I have a short history on the house here. In 1913, Davis, who would later become mayor, bought the place for $1. $1 turned into $1.3 million. I just want to point that out in 100 years, okay? Real estate, man.
Yeah.
Now, Davis, who went on to become mayor, so Mayor Davis, later sold it to his son. So we're seeing a generational thing happen all of a sudden, Then it was, sold up until the Broses came along. But yeah, no letters, no nothing. But just keep Mayor Davis in mind,
Yeah. So to be fair, like the house had grown significantly in value, just since even since 2018, the tax value went up quite a bit.
$1, 1913, 2014, 1.3 mil. Man.
Yeah.
Hello, Polish?
Yeah, because we can check you can check like at least the last 10 years of like value history very easily. That's publicly accessible information, tax assessments, all that stuff. Anytime it's been listed for sale, the price it's been listed for is also easily accessible. I mean, I'm looking, just Zillow alone has that information. And yeah. It's kind of ridiculous how easy that stuff was to find.
I know, right? I'd like to see my the value of my place, because it would just routinely go down year after year. My taxes don't, but hey. But yeah, the Broses were told not to discuss it with neighbors, just in case it was the neighbors, I don't think that. We'll get into that later. But they go on with their renovations. They actually move in with the wife's mother for the time being, while everything's going on. And then 2 weeks later, guess what they get in the mail?
A nice warm thing of brownies.
Maybe. Maybe it was like a letter on top of a package, and inside were some special brownies.
Okay. No brownies, just a letter, eh?
Just a letter, unfortunately. It commented that it was still monitoring them, and all the windows and doors in 657 Boulevard allow me to watch you and track you as you move through the house. Who am I? I am the Watcher, and I've been in control of 657 Boulevard for the better part of 2 decades now. It went on to ask about the young blood. Do you need to fill the house with the young blood I requested? Better for me. Was your old house too small for the growing family? Keep that in mind. Or was it greed to bring me your children? Once I know their names, I will call to them and draw them to me. Now I'm getting the hell out of the house, okay? Now I am.
I don't know, man. That first letter was bad enough. Like, it was bad enough. I would have definitely had a lot of questions. Oh, but to be fair, they did just spend $1.3 million on a house, so I guess you're kind of in for a penny, in for a pound.
But yeah, not a whole lot of activity after that. Want to get to letter number 3 about a month later?
Okay.
The next letter actually refers to both Maria and Derek by their names. It does misspell their last name, though.
Yes, it does. It misspells it as Braddus, Braddus.
Yeah. They also knew the names of the children. I am pleased to know your names now, and their nicknames, and the name of the young blood you have brought to me. You certainly say their names often. 657 Boulevard is anxious for you to move in. It has been years and years since the young blood ruled the hallways of the house. Have you found all the secrets it holds yet? Will the young blood play in the basement? Or are they too afraid to go down there alone? I would be very afraid if I were them. It is far away from the rest of the house. If you were upstairs, you would never hear them scream. Also mentioned, kind of upset about the renovations. The house is crying from all the pain it is going through. You have changed it and made it so fancy. You are stealing its history. Its cries for the past and what used to be in the time when I roamed its halls. The 1960s were a good time for 657 Boulevard when I ran from room to room, imagining the life with the rich occupants there. The house was full of life and young blood. Then it got old, and so did my father, but he kept watching until the day he died. And now I watch and wait for the day when the young blood will be mine again.
Oh.
I pass by many times a day. 657 Boulevard is my job, my life, my obsession. And now you are too. Welcome to the product of your greed. Greed is what brought the past 3 families to 657 Boulevard, and now it has brought you to me. Get out. Get out. Get out.
Yeah.
Get out. Get out. Get out.
Yeah, no, that's absolutely yeah. Let's move. Let's go.
Yeah. That's But no. They seem kind of, maybe they got obsessed. But like it mentions, like in the walls and stuff like that, has anybody ever cracked open a wall or two, or like searched the basement floor, or?
I would assume somebody has. Like it gets referenced, it gets brought up in every source media there that covers the story. I would assume that somebody's gone into those walls at some point.
But here's the thing. But here's the thing. Somebody's sending these letters, but here's the thing: they weren't able to get a fingerprint off them. Of course, no return address because duh.
Yeah.
Now the police question.
They didn't come through the proper mail. They were hand delivered because there's no stamps on them.
Yeah. Weren't able to get anything out of them.
Except for a
Where am I
partial
at here?
DNA at one time.
Yeah, we'll get to that. The police, of course, questioned the other possible buyers, but one of the buyers actually backed out themselves, saying, "You know what? I'm not actually interested in it." Or was he? And the other buyer ended up purchasing just another home.
Yeah.
So that's kind of, that happens all the time. My sister works in real estate, so
Yeah.
she sees people backing out all the time. So that's nothing, The Broses went on to hire a private investigator. They hired a handwriting analyst, handwriting analyst. And they even set up cameras on the inside of the house, watching out, thus becoming the watchers.
Yes, and what did all this extra effort get them?
Nothing.
Huh.
Nada.
Weird.
Yeah, then they never figured anything out. Where am I at here? Well, here's the thing though. So 6 months after initially buying and doing these renovations, so they're sinking even more money into this, right?
Yeah.
They've had enough. They're gonna sell. Not a bad idea.
Yeah. No, absolutely.
If I had that crap going on too, I would, not gonna lie, I would either arm myself or sell. Probably arm myself. It's cheaper. Well, it's not cheaper. It's easier. Only problem though is they couldn't find a single buyer.
Yeah. However, it should be noted that they were very upfront and made sure that every buyer knew about the letters.
Yes, unlike the previous owners, the Woods. So this is where my suspicions start kicking up here, because the Broses decided to sue the Woods for not telling them about the letter that they received 3 days before they moved out. Which, I'm not gonna lie, if I was in the same situation as the Woods, odds are I'd probably be like, "Oh well, this is just dumb,"
Yeah. No, absolutely.
And probably wouldn't have mentioned anything. I just went, pew.
Yeah,
My brain just.
It's not a murder. It's not a crime. It was weird, but not scary. Why would you mention that?
Yeah, exactly. It's just a weird letter. So yeah, if I was the Woods, I'd be, whatever too. Now they did eventually drop the lawsuit. I just want to point that out.
Well, my understanding is they got thrown out. The judge said there was nothing to suggest that they could win it.
Oh, really? I read that it was that they did drop it. Well, that just makes my theory a little bit more.
Oh, jeez, I have all theories too.
Okay, so you know what? They can't sell it. They can't sue. So what's the next logical step?
Burn it for the insurance money.
Okay, one logical step before that.
Make my mother-in-law live there.
Yeah, she knows about the letters already, but
yeah, but it's my mother-in-law. It's like, oh, those were a joke.
Yeah, little Jimmy down the street there. He writes letters all the time. He's working on his penmanship. So just encourage him. He's learning to write cursive, something that's not used anymore. What? It's totally
But
not.
no, okay. So renting the house.
Or even better, how about demolishing the house and putting 2 houses on there to rent out?
Yes, yes. When they tried to sell it to a real estate developer.
Mm-hmm. So their idea, demolish house, put 2 up. Wouldn't that just double the problem? I'm just saying. All of a sudden you're getting 2 letters.
Well, there is some extra context here, being that I believe it was a lawyer told them that the best bet would be to sell it to a developer who would then demolish it and rebuild. The developer was going to put 2 houses on there instead, and in order for that to happen, they had to get the town's blessing.
Yep. Well, you need permits and stuff like that. I've worked for a town before. I know all about this crap, and trust me, it's a lot of garbage.
Not
You want
to
to build a
mention
shed? Oh boy.
Not to mention all that bureaucracy is very easy to tie you up if, say, the town residents in power of that bureaucracy do not like you.
We'll get to that too.
Yes.
So the idea is to just take down the house, put up 2 new houses. They go to the municipality, and they get rejected unanimously. I can't talk today. Everybody votes no because the proposed houses are three that many square feet too small for the neighborhood.
Yep. However, it should also be noted that around the same time, a different property in a near area, but not same street, but in the same area, was allowed that exception, which required a even bigger adjustment because they had a much smaller square foot.
Yep.
So that sounds like bureaucracy at work right there.
So yeah, that's sounding like people are being dicks.
Mm-hmm.
Now here's the thing: the neighbors that have been like pretty silent throughout the entire time became very vocal about this.
Well, yeah, it's a historic
They
house.
did not. Yeah, they did not want that house taken down. They wanted the 2 houses. They did not want the 2 houses put up. And now I just want to point out here that this is when some of the neighbors started getting some letters.
Yes.
They always express anger about not allowing the house to be taken down and the 2 new ones put up. And well, want to take a stab at who it was?
Yeah. I mean, it's obviously going to be the husband.
Yep, it was Derek Brodus.
It's always the husband.
Of course. Who was very adamant that yes, he did write these letters, but not the original ones. Okay, the ones that they got are authentic. The ones that he wrote, he did.
Doth protesteth too much.
Yeah, exactly.
He's not out there winning the hearts and minds of the populace.
Well, that's just it. Right now, they have the damn neighborhood against them.
Publicly, nonetheless.
So they can't sell it. They can't demolish it. What else can they do with it?
Now they rent. Maybe.
Now they rent. And they found
yeah, I was gonna say, which they were able to do.
Yeah, extremely quickly. Everything I've read, everything I've heard, it always mentions that they were to find renters extremely quickly. What do you think happened about 2 weeks after the renters moved in?
What happened?
Sticking with a theme here, we get to, I believe, which is the final letter. It was given to the renters. It wasn't for the renters because it obviously was meant for Derek and Maria. To give to, to the vile and spiteful Derek and his wench of a wife.
Oh, getting all saucy now.
Yeah, he wasn't too bad before, but now all of a sudden he's just like, wench of a wife. Holy crap. Who says wench in 2014?
Somebody that's 118 years old.
Fair enough. Somebody's been watching a house for 118 years. Or 110 years. You wonder who the watcher is. Turn around, idiots. Maybe he even spoke to me. One of the so-called neighbors who has no idea who the watcher could be. Or maybe you do know and are too scared to tell anyone. Good move. It literally says good move. That's not my commentary for once.
No, I know. Oh. Now, okay, it should also be noted now that the tenants did not move out after receiving this letter. They stayed in the house, continued to rent, even though the Braddises had given them an option that if another letter arrived, that they could leave, they could break their lease, but they chose not to.
Well, that's, I don't know, how cheap was the rent? I've seen rent
That's
nowadays.
What I'm saying. That's what I'm thinking. Like, for that part of the neighborhood, as expensive as that house was, and yet to catch a tenant that quickly, my understanding is it didn't even cover the mortgage of the house.
So yeah, they're just trying to get some money. So
yeah, they're probably charging a fair price for it instead of overpaying like they did.
Well, when did this whole debacle start?
June 2014.
So August of 2019. They're finally able to sell the house.
Yes, they are.
Unfortunately, at $400,000 less than what they paid for it. So yeah, they bought it for $1.3 million. Never lived in it.
Yep.
And sold it for $900,000.
Yes. No, they definitely took a major hit at it.
I just have a small list of suspects, and that's all my info. Do you got anything else to add before we get to the suspects?
Yeah, no, I have a bunch of stuff. One thing is the letters often referenced. Well, this will lead up to suspects as well, but also this is a lot of conjecture at this point. The letters often reference things such as the historical importance of the house. The house has a history. Blah 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 blah. Presuming that it was a legitimate type event, people sending letters to them, it suggests that the person either A, is emotionally connected to the house because it is a historic house and probably has a connection to the area community type thing, or they have an interest in architecture. Both of these are valid things. In fact, the architecture one we can get into a little bit later as a possible idea. There's also a bunch of inconsistencies set up with one of the critiques I hear is that, they had a ton of cameras and never saw a thing. And then I hear people batting that away saying, they had this is 2014, cameras sucked and they were super expensive. Okay. All of that wrong.
Yeah, no.
I mean, this is only 10 years ago. Camera technology has advanced since then, but not dramatically so. But moreover, cameras were not super expensive. Cameras were like the Ring doorbell in 2014, brand new on the market, was $200. Now, if we want to put that into perspective, we're just going to use a round number of $1 million. They bought $1 million home, although we know it was more.
Yeah.
That $200 camera would be a mere 1/5 of 1/10 of 1% of the cost of the home.
Well, maybe they couldn't afford it. We'll get into that later.
Then what did they do to buy that house? Okay, $1.3 million does not break the bank. $200 does. I don't buy that.
Yeah, neither do I. But
yeah, another one is they also get told it often gets said that they lived in the house and it was a living nightmare. Blah 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 blah. It wasn't. They never actually lived. They did renovations, and the letter started before they moved in. So at that point, they just never moved in.
Yep.
Let's see here. Well, last bit there's the rights of it, so we can continue on. Let's get some suspects in here.
Alrighty. I want to talk about their immediate neighbor, the Langford family.
Yes. Very interesting family.
Now, they're a family that have actually lived in that house. They're a generational family since the 1960s.
Yes. However, that's still just one generation.
1962. Yeah, I guess.
No, because it was the mother and her adult children. So 90-year-old mother, 60-something-year-old children.
What?
The Langfords were all in their 60s.
Really?
Yeah. You didn't notice that one?
I thought there would be at least like two families, But yeah.
No, it's the Langford matriarch, the mother, and then all her children, or several of her children.
But yeah, obviously, if you want to be watching a house for a very long time, move next door.
Mm-hmm.
And don't die, apparently.
Yeah. One of the Langfords in particular. Do you have that one?
Michael Langford. Well, and he was diagnosed. I just want to say that I want to watch my wording here. This isn't the cause of his. Well, yeah. He had schizophrenia. I'm not saying like this is the reason. That schizophrenia is not like I'm going to go out and be crazy kind of deal. He was diagnosed with schizophrenia. He would often look through other people's windows, being a watcher.
Yeah.
And being a neighbor, he could have just learned a lot of this stuff from simple proximity. Like, one of the letters does mention the daughter painting on the front deck. And it asks, is she like the artist of the family? And just like, Michael could have just went outside and been like, huh.
Yep. However, it should also be noted that front deck is misnomer because that is not the porch wasn't visible from the street. It was visible from the yard or neighbors' yards. So so to clarify, somebody driving by would not have been able to see that.
What, somebody living next door could have.
Yes.
He could have learned names and nicknames just by going outside whenever they're outside, or
yes, that would also explain misspelling their name, since he would have heard it and not seen it spelled, since it is pronounced Bradis, but it's spelled Broadest.
Bradis, because I think I've been saying Brodus the entire time. And also, the other neighbors have called the Langford family strange.
Well, to be fair, you're a 90-year-old woman with several of your adult children in their 60s living with you. I'd be surprised if people didn't think you were strange.
Fair enough. I didn't know their ages, man. That's crazy.
Yes.
I thought it would have been like, okay, I grew up here and now my family, I die and then my family took it over kind of deal. So at least like 2 generations. No, just
Nope.
good for them.
Should also be noted that some. Oh,
Hmm?
continue.
Oh, go ahead.
There was another set of neighbors that some of the contractors thought were weird.
Mm-hmm.
Those ones I didn't catch their names, but they like to leave their lawn chairs next to the property line and sit in them a lot.
Yeah. Are you sitting there obviously gathering information?
Yeah, I mean, nosy neighbors, man, nosy neighbors.
Uh-huh. Had one of those. He was an asshole. I caught him one time with a ruler in my yard measuring my grass.
Oh, jeez. Yep.
I literally mowed it like 3 days before. It was like that tall.
Yeah.
He was nuts. I think he might be
Yeah,
dead
no,
now.
I had my grandmother has a neighbor that's been nosy the entire time she's been in her location for the last 30 years. I was over there 5 years ago. She was getting injection insulation put into her thing. Neighbor was so nosy that he came in, walked through the door into the house, and started talking to the contractor. And then I happened to be there.
I'd shoot him.
Yeah, I happened to be there. He's like, he kind of panicked. He's like, "Oh, a bird came into my house. I want to check if it was hers." I'm like, no, my grandmother does not have any birds. And
Holy
he kind of
crap.
disappeared after that. But yeah,
Yeah,
no, he's
I'd
been
punch him.
nosy the entire time. Yeah.
Jesus, that's horrible.
Yeah, I mean, he literally walked through an open door, go into the room they were spraying and started talking to the contractor. And I happened to like see him go in, and I'm like, "What's this?" And so I followed him in, and like that's when he kind of panicked.
Yeah, I'd punch him.
Yeah. I hung around there a lot on that side of the property for the next few months, making it clear that I was around.
But
as far as we know, these ones just sat in their lawn chairs.
But like Michael Langford, a lot of evidence against him. So why wasn't he ever arrested and proclaimed a watcher?
Oh, okay. Why?
DNA. The DNA from the envelopes, from the saliva, was shown to be that of a woman. Now, he had a sister.
Yes.
But she was taken in, and her DNA was not a match.
Yeah.
Now, I didn't find anywhere at all where it mentions if the mother was ever taken in.
Well, they would have been able to eliminate her just from the daughter's match DNA.
Oh, yeah, DNA. Sorry, it's my first time hearing about this wondrous technology. Dino DNA.
Yeah.
And I guess at 90 years old, it really is Dino DNA.
Yep, almost oil at that point.
That's it. So I want to move on to my next set of suspects.
Okay, let's hear it.
The Braddises themselves.
Is that your only other suspect?
I have one more after this.
Okay, do that one first, because I have some stuff on the Braddises as well.
Okay, so they moved from a $300,000 house to a $1.3 million house. Maybe after this purchase, they realized that they couldn't afford it and was looking for a way to back out. After all, they did try to sue the former occupants. As you said, it was thrown out of court. Maybe they're trying to make money off of it. Trying to get a movie deal, you know?
Yeah. Not gonna lie, if I was gonna shop around a movie deal on a house I can't afford, I would definitely be telling every single potential buyer about it.
Mm-hmm.
Make it harder to sell, make it more legitimate. Honestly, that's one of my bigger theories right there is Derek Braddis did it himself.
Yeah, because like we know that he sent letters.
Yes. Yeah, he kind of damned himself there. Not to mention, like what they don't, what you also didn't mention is it wasn't the first house they upwardly moved into. It was like the third, I think. And from my understanding, the way they did is by refinancing their mortgages to get into these bigger mortgages.
Huh.
Yeah, and don't get me wrong, Derek Bratis was making quite a bit of money. He was um, a higher level employee at an insurance firm, I believe. So he was more than enough making enough money. They were upper middle class, family, high income.
At 1.3 mil, you better be upper class.
Yeah, that's not how property values in the United States work, but
Unfortunately, no. 1.3 mil in Canada even buys you like a shack and a bucket to shit in.
yeah. But still, like as far as finances there, he would still be considered upper middle class.
Mm-hmm. But like, the suspicion there is they got themselves into a situation that they couldn't afford. So either trying to back out or make a movie on it. Now Netflix did purchase the rights.
Yes. And not only did Netflix purchase the rights, Netflix had a bidding war with 6 other studios to get it.
6, holy crap.
Yeah, well,
So
they got somebody to represent them. That person brought the idea and story and articles to an auction house for film industry, which later put it up for auction. That's where the 6 different studios bid on it.
now I also just want to point out that Lifetime did release a movie 2 years after the initial letters. They got sent a cease and desist. I'm sure if you look hard enough, you can find the movie, and it's a Lifetime movie, so I'm sure it's horrible. But yeah, those were my second suspects, and yeah, I could see themselves getting themselves into a financial situation where they're just like,
Yeah.
well, what do we do? There's a ton of evidence there.
No, there is, especially as other things to note about the Bradises being a very good suspect is that only one letter happened beforehand, which, I mean, it happened before the other family moved out, but it happened shortly before they moved out. The Bradises are probably already looking at the place, blah, 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 blah. Oh, wow. That makes a connection right there. Is maybe they were trying to drive the price down of the property by giving the original homeowners, the Woods, a letter, which they would have told the other buyers about before they sold it to the Bradises, and like that would have dropped the price.
Well, that's the thing, though. The initial letter was only 3 days before like the deal was done.
No, it was a couple weeks according to some things. Yeah, the letter
I kept
to
on
them
reading
was 3 days.
3 days.
The 3 days is their first letter.
Yeah, and then 3 days before the sale, right?
No, it was 2 weeks before the Woodses moved out. They got the letter, and then 3 days after the Bradises bought it, that they got the first letter.
In the hopes that the Woods would mention it, and then the Bradises would be like, "Well, well, that's scary. We'll still buy it, but for much less."
Yeah, no, like that suddenly is. I wonder why nobody's really tried that angle before. Usually, I hear them trying to get it for Bradises trying to get money out of like Netflix or something. But this makes way more sense now. Is they tried to get the price reduced, it didn't work, and sort of like, fudge, we already bid the highest on this. We bought it at $300,000 more than it was asked for. What are we going to do? And then
keep up with the letters.
Hey, hold my beer. I got this. And then it took them 5 years to finally offload the house, but they did sell it. And according to the Bradis family, they did not even make enough to cover their losses.
Because as I mentioned earlier, they bought it for 1.3 mil and sold it for 400,000 less, so 900,000.
Yeah. According to the Bradises, the Netflix deal, they did not even get enough to cover the thing. I don't think that's likely.
No, because we know Netflix likes to throw money around. So,
well, not only that, it went to auction against other publishing houses, well, other movie studios,
Yeah.
And when it was first, the rights were first sold, the articles around the time that it was first sold said 7 figures.
Hmm.
Yeah.
So yeah,
So
they
that's at
definitely
least
made
$1
some
million.
money.
That's at least $1 million. That's at least to cover what they put into it.
Yeah. Yeah, because the 900,000 that they got from the sale, and then the mill that
Yeah.
they, at least the mill, so 1.9
Yeah.
mil off of 1.3. Yeah.
Yeah. Not to mention, anyway, so back to the letters there. The first letter there to the family, that's all just spitballing there. When I just said, like, wait a second, maybe that was the drop the price originally. I have not put any further thought into it because it occurred to me as I said it.
Uh-huh.
However, other thing to note about the letters is that 1 to the Woodses, sure. 4 to the family, the Braddises. The new people who bought it in 2019 have not gotten a single letter.
Yep.
So
yeah, the letters
yeah,
basically began and stopped with the Braddises.
yes. And as we discussed earlier, Derek already has a history of sending mean anonymous letters to people.
Uh-huh. And plus, him being the family figurehead, whatever you want to call it,
Yeah.
he would know all the names and nicknames and all this intimate details about the family. So,
Yeah.
yeah, I gotta say, he just went up on my suspect list because my number one
Yeah.
suspect
Yeah.
was
The gamer.
the what?
The gamer. You missed the gamer.
I guess I did.
Oh wow. Okay. I'll do the gamer really quick, and then we can move on to your number one suspect.
Alrighty.
The gamer is a rumored resident of the street somewheres or nearby street who was connected to the thing simply because of his girlfriend who had parked outside of the near to Bradis's house at some point. And it was suspicious, affluent neighborhood. They called the cops. Somebody got in trouble. She got called in. She's like, "Oh, I was at my boyfriend's house, gamer," and something about he plays The Watcher a lot, and that's how the gamer got linked to this. Okay. Now, for just sake of being a gamer, I don't immediately know of any game where you play as the Watcher, but I can think of at least 4 games where you play as the Witcher, and the girlfriend might not have
there
been
we
that
go.
into it.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like, or the cop misheard.
Wow.
Yes, the gamer. Oh, okay.
Hey,
Now,
I'm sorry, you're going to prison. But all I did was play Mario Brothers. Come on.
yes. Okay, so who's your top suspect then?
Well, until we just had that discussion about the Bradyses, now they're about neck and neck for me. The neighborhood themselves.
Yes.
For the greater good.
Yep. Okay. Yes, I can get behind
Oh,
this.
that's where you say for the greater good.
For the greater
Have you not
good.
seen Hot Fuzz?
Jesus, you're not the first person to reference Hot Fuzz in relation to this case.
Yes, because it is a movie. I'm not going to spoil it. You know what? This is going to spoil it. Go watch it again. The greater good.
The greater good. Honestly, the greater good is used a lot.
But here's, they didn't want any change to it. Obviously, the past tense got a thank you for looking after the house and taking care of it.
Yes.
The Brazos all of a sudden start getting these letters when renovations started. They're talking about what's in the walls. I mean, they're talking about like memories and spirits in the wall, like memories in the walls and all that stuff. And it just seemed like the Watcher didn't want any change. Now, we saw the neighborhood being basically pretty quiet up until the Brazos proposed to put 2 houses where it is. And that's when they got very vocal about it. Denying a construction permit for altogether 6 square feet between two houses. Come on.
Okay. Again, I'm not disagreeing here, but you know bureaucracy. It's bureaucracy. It's an affluent neighborhood in an affluent town in a ritzy part of New Jersey. We're not talking Jersey Shore. We're not talking, any of the other parts of Jersey where it's pollution as far as the eye can see, or airport, or suburbs of New York City. We're talking affluent part of New Jersey. It's small town bureaucracy. Somebody gets in charge there. They don't like you. It happens here. I can think of at least 3 or 4 other similar real life examples of people I know who are having trouble with towns because the town doesn't want them to do something to their property.
I've worked for a municipality before. I know how this crap works. And I've got to say, I can't think of a single one that would be like, no, you're just a little bit tiny too small. Denied.
Yeah, but when the neighbor down the street who's been here for 3 generations wants to build that addition that is out of code. Oh, well, yeah, no, we can sign off on that.
Yep. So I find that very extremely suspect. And it wasn't like it was like a 2-to-1 vote or anything like that. It was, they all were just like, no.
Yep.
How often does that happen?
I'm not saying that the neighborhood, the town municipality did not do that and was not off base and was not corrupt as. Okay, people out there watching, just go Google small towns or town corruption. You will find endless examples of what I'm talking about. But I'm not saying that that's not what happened, but I'm also going to say that by this point in time, the Bradishes had already raised a lot of attention for a rich part of Westfield, New Jersey, who did not like being that attended to.
Because they'd find out about their secret cult.
Yeah.
If I started being. But they're the ones that rooted out the Bradishes went from a $300,000 house to 1.3 mil, and who does that?
It's really easy to do. Anybody with any reason to want to do that could do that. It's easy to do. I don't give a damn what somebody lives in, but if somebody pissed me off, I might.
Like if you were going to change one of the houses that's been there since 19...
Yeah, I get 05.
Thank you. I was thinking 15, but that's all right.
Yeah. No, 1905. Again, okay, this is a historic house now. This has been up for 100 years. They don't want you to change things about it. Okay. I can buy into the neighborhood thing. I love a good conspiracy theory. This is a really good one. And if it weren't for the fact that I'm 95% sure Derek did it, I would say the neighborhood did it.
Yeah, that's why these two theories are now like before it was, the neighborhood, Bradis, Michael, and now it's like
yeah.
I'm wiping Michael out of the equation entirely, I'll tell you that much.
Well, to be fair, he could, if the neighborhood did it, he would be involved.
Yeah. Yeah, fair enough. Maybe not the entire neighborhood, maybe like a select few, which is why the Woods got a letter of thank you,
Yeah.
But yeah.
I'm not buying much of that.
Anyway, go watch Hot Fuzz.
Yeah, I've watched it years ago. I have some of the other in the trilogy. I have one of the other in the trilogy.
You gotta go watch all 3.
I've watched the first all 3.
I gotta watch them in order now. There's no order. Anyway, I think that about wraps me up on the Watcher House.
Yeah, no, we've covered everything important. I should state that anything said over the previous 54 minutes has been purely conjecture and is our opinions, but not binding opinions, and is no way a definitive statement of facts. It is all allegedly.
That goes for the entire series. There. Covered.
Yeah, well, not allegedly, not the entire series is quite so litigious.
Don't sue us.
Yeah, what he said.
We're for entertainment purposes only. That's why all of the videos are marked
poor.
entertainment.
And poor.
But you know what I can afford?
Hmm.
I can afford a hat with some pieces of paper in it.
Okay, let's see it.
I gotta hand the hat over the repo man's here. Here you go. Anyway, what we do is we put all of our ideas for our upcoming episodes into the hat. If you have a topic that you'd like us to cover, mention it in the comments below. If we like the idea, we'll add it to the hat, and then when we draw it out, we'll give you a shout out. Isn't that nice? What are we doing in 2 weeks' time?
Let's see it.
What the? We're getting goofy. The Richmond TV Ferry.
Okay, that's a you topic.
Have you never heard of the Richmond TV Ferry?
No, I have not. That's why I know it's a you topic.
Yes. I've been looking for topics that you've never heard of, and I finally found one. I'm so happy. I'm not saying it's going to be a full-length episode like the full hour, but, you know, it'll be an episode. I'll tell you that much, because this is weird.
Oh, actually,
Anyway.
I might know it.
Save it for 2 weeks' time.
I will.
Anyway, thank you all very much for joining us today, and we shall talk to you all another time.
Hey, have a good one.
Cheers.